Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode here on Let It Grow Investing. I'm Jeff. We're going to talk all things stocks, everything that's going on in the market this week, just what these high interest rates mean, what we're looking at there, executive orders from Trump, some tariff news, some earnings news, and some earnings reports that are going to be coming out this week. So thank you always for tuning in. We've got quite a bit to get through and a little bit of time. So I'm going to not rob you guys of any of your day. Try to get through all this real quick. So we've got Nvidia, CrowdStrike, Costco, TJ Maxx reporting this week. A lot of different things can happen there, right? We've got any kind of hiccup on any one of these. I think we're going to get some sort of pullback on some of that news, right? If Costco reports, they're probably, even if they report decent earnings, which I think they will, I think that we're going to have a bit of a pullback in Costco stock. It's pretty typical. Nvidia, man, we are trying to play nice with Trump as far as Jensen Huang's looking. He's the CEO over there, trying to allow Nvidia chips to be sold in China. And that is not going well for Nvidia. Trump will not allow it. I'm kind of on the fence, right? I kind of think if we can control the chips and the amount of tech that they have, maybe we can kind of limit how many people were actually building that sort of thing over there. And the next breath, it's like, well, they're going to figure it out on their own, and they're going to potentially, do whatever they're going to do with their AI chips. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn, right? The investor in me says, let them sell there. And we have to, understand that they're going to figure it out one way or the other. That's kind of tough, right? But TJ Maxx, I think that's going to be a solid report with everything that's going on. I think people, like Amazon said that they don't see any slowdown in consumer spending. So that is a good sign. Maybe we see more people spending at TJ Maxx at a discount retailer. And maybe that could be a trend that we're seeing this quarter. So a lot of different things to watch out there, right? We've got coming off of a week where Trump was kind of, bodying up the European Union. Hey, come to the table or we're going to tariff you 50%. So that is something that brought the market down on Friday, right? So I did want to pull that up. I'll get to that in a second. We're also looking at what else happened this week. We had Apple. They were also trying to produce their phones in India to get around making phones in China. And that was also denied, right? Well, not denied, but they're also going to be hit with a 25% tariff if they start to produce in India. And some people say, hey, just, pay the 25%. It's going to be cheaper than trying to have those phones produced here in the US. Other people saying, hey, just move production to the America and roll with it that way. So we're not too certain, right? Apple might do it, but that's a lot of CapEx for them to build the facilities here in order to make the phones. Or do we simply say, hey, we're going to make them in India for the next 4 years. We're going to ride this thing out. And then, hey, maybe the next administration isn't such a tariff heavy and we're not going to have those problems with building simply out of the country and importing. So that is definitely something we're looking at as well. So Nvidia, Apple, that caused a bit of a sell-off on Friday, as well as Trump coming out and saying, hey, Europe, we're going to tariff you if you don't play along and deal with our trade agreement that we're going to throw out your way. So that is definitely something that's out there. We had Palantir. They won another $795 million Army contract. So more things going on that front, right? That is definitely something that is beneficial to Palantir. We're going to continue to see this one push higher, I think. It's going to have some, missteps or anything along the way. It's going to have some pullbacks. But now we're sitting at 123. And, when this thing was in 80s, I said, hey, that's where I want to be entering more Palantir. Similar to Bitcoin. Bitcoin now hit 110,000 per coin. And, man, that thing, I think we're going to see more and more people adopting Bitcoin as there's more and more currency, problems around the world. I still think that that's going to be the trend, although I'm really not looking to buy as much in that $110,000 price point. So, Apple, Palantir, Nvidia, we got that. Costco, where's Costco sitting? Let's take a look real quick at COST. I'll take a look there. 1,008, about 7% of upside here. When do they exactly report? Let's get to that. Sorry, I'm going to mute the old phone. We got trailing 12 months PE at sitting right around 60, which is pretty high, but probably warranted for them. They are reporting on the 29th. So that'll be today's Monday. So happy Memorial Day if you guys are celebrating, if you are home. That'll be Thursday, right? So we'll be getting that news Thursday at just what Costco is doing. And I'm probably more on the fence of if you wanted to buy something, I might even look at an Apple right now. They are getting more and more into the healthcare sector, which I think could be a strong driver of growth going forward. So, a hospital system in Georgia, I believe, just started using all Apple products for all of their healthcare. So, that could be a big trend where we start to see people go away from Windows or Microsoft, and now they're picking up more Apple product at a commercial size level. That could be a big driver going forward. Also, you factor in some of this uncertainty. We're looking at a high of 260 back on December 20th. And now we pull back to 195 with a lot of this tariff talk, a lot of the news that's been going in circulation right now. Can we kind of minimize some of that, start making some news that some of these hospital systems are actually starting to use their product? Maybe that's a driver, right? The iPhone uncertainty and how much they're going to cost and who's going to be making them and what the import tariffs, that is certainly a cause for concern. But if we can buy a great company on a discount, that could be a great way to get into something like an Apple on the cheap. So maybe we start to take a nibble here or there on some of these names as they are trending lower. Nvidia's in a bit of no man's land, right? We've been kind of trending up, although it's been higher back in January, and then we hit down to $86. And yes, we definitely came up off of those lows significantly, right? We're at 130 now, but we still aren't at those highs, and we still have a lot of uncertainty knowing just what this ban on sales to China means. I know a lot more people are trying to see them as a hardware company that is also going to have a lot of software built on top of their hardware. So I believe Tesla was just saying they're going to have so many NVIDIA chips in their new factory. We've also got Tesla looking to license. They are now reaching out to other auto manufacturers to license full self-driving. So that could be another play where, Tesla starts to look more attractive as they can really start to sell all this data and all this infrastructure that they really have built and see if this thing starts to go up higher, right? Crazy high PE on the trailing 12 months, sitting at 339. We've got downside here, I believe around 19% last check, 17%, sorry. So that is something where, yes, that's certainly much higher than where it was a month ago. Does this thing start to rally? Does Elon kind of, get back to the focus that he's talking about? Are you still, tied to Tesla as the CEO? Is the Doge thing done? What is going on, right? We need some clarity. We need to know that you're still there. This is your focus. We're still trying to make the Tesla company, much bigger, much stronger, grow the earnings, sell the technology, get the software out there. What other angles can we play to make Tesla, investors be happier to see what is actually going on over there, right? It's been pretty brutal for a lot of different reasons. But we are looking at Google. They have started putting ads into their AI platform. So we were talking about this. What is Google going to do? How can they counteract the amount of search that's going to go to ChatGPT or other AI, software? And how can we remedy that situation? So now they are advertising on their own Gemini platform that is being tested right now. There's still about 17% of upside over here. So I do like Google. I think that it is, on the cheaper end of where it could potentially go. And I mean, I think most of the analysts agree with me on that, right? There's about 5% of downside. Average price target being 197. What's some of the newer price points that came out? Buy at 220, hold 186. Citi says buy at 200. Rosenblatt says hold 189. Jeffrey says buy 200. I'm probably in the, if it's going to grow, I could see this thing being a 10 to 14, 15% gainer over the next year. I think, there's a lot of things holding it back. We still have Their ad revenue is almost as large as Netflix, their whole business, right? I think it's like 36 billion to 39 billion. I was just looking at the numbers, so don't quote me, but I know it was close, right? So that is definitely something that is interesting. We've got the big Google search has been the problem as to what's going to happen if everyone goes to AI. Is Google search going to be relevant? Well, Google is making themselves relevant and they're going to be advertising on those platforms. So I think that does make a lot of different sense there, right? So we got Google. I think that could be a buy as well, right? A lot of them could be, I suppose. Home Depot, right? We don't normally talk too much Home Depot. It's been a while. We are seeing Home Depot saying that they are not going to be adjusting prices based on tariffs. So I don't know what angle they're playing or how they're navigating these waters to not have to raise prices for tariffs, because essentially that's got to be passed on somewhere. I don't think their margins are that strong to where they can just simply absorb it. So I'm curious to see what happens here, right? We've got a decent amount of upside here. Very limited on the downside, right? We're at 362 and someone's calling for the low to be 360. So if we're looking at that, we could think, man, maybe we start to see some rates getting cut. Maybe we start to see, some people get out of the way of all the problems that we've been facing in the last couple of months. And maybe we start to actually spend more and we start to build more. We start to, borrow more or refi, cash out refi to do the things on our homes that we want. So maybe they can navigate it, but I don't know how they're not raising prices based on tariffs. Maybe there's another spin. Maybe they're raising prices, but they're saying it has nothing to do with tariffs. It's just their new pricing structure. I'm not sure, but that is what they had said. So, yeah, that is a lot of different news to take in. What does it all mean for us? Again, we do have the 30-year rising above 7% again. We have, I believe, the 10-year was above 5%. There's a lot of different things kind of circling around. Oh, we also had, I forgot this one. We had Trump come out and say, let me go ahead and share this one. I'm going to share this tab. So we've got Trump signing an executive order to usher in the American nuclear renaissance. Kind of crazy, right? I know we need the energy. I know AI facilities are going to need a ton of energy in order to operate. And I know we're looking at a lot of modular systems that are going to be potential nuclear, facilities. So this executive order went into effect. This article is from the 23rd. I believe it was probably on Friday. Signed several executive orders to help clear the way for more nuclear power development. And in the words of one of his top officials, usher in the American nuclear renaissance. It's a hot industry, Trump said before signing the executive orders. So we will see what's going on here. And some of these stocks, man, they really rallied on Friday against a not so hot market elsewhere. Let me go ahead and share this one again. We've got SMR. This is NewScale Power Corp, and they went up 20% on the announcement of this executive order. And now we have downside there because it went up too far too fast and people aren't thinking that it's going to be lasting. So there are other smaller plays, or that is a smaller straight pure play on more nuclear. There are some plays that are less tied to nuclear is what I really was kind of aiming for there. Constellation Energy, yeah, they're going to lean into some of that nuclear, so they're up a little bit on that news. Dominion, I think they had something to do with nuclear, so they're up. American Electric Power, I think they were up as well. Yeah, so even on a down day, these are going to be the stocks that are moving simply because Trump said, hey, I'm signing this, and nuclear is going to be our new angle. And counter to the counter, that would be, hey, what is solar doing? They actually were up Friday, but this was also off of a terrible backdrop where if I do look at the chart, this is probably more of a bounce rather than actual news. So if I'm looking at the 5-day, we're going to see this thing just tank, right? It just had this earnings draw. I think it was earnings. And I know that some of these credits that we were looking at for solar are going to be going away by the end of the year. So Enphase is down. First Solar, FSLR. Yeah, there we go. FSLR. What did they do? They were up. So maybe we're getting a little bit of a bounce here. Maybe it ties in somehow. I'm not too sure. Or maybe they were just down as well. No, they were not. So Enphase had that crushing blow to them to where they are just, beat up. They are really beat up. Sunrun, let's check on all the regular players, and we will see what's just going on here. They are also up. So a lot of energy up on the week. What did some of the majors do as far as oil? They were up as well. So I guess we got to look what was the big down, and that was like the Nasdaq, right? Down 1% on Friday, the Dow down 0.6, S&P down 0.6. So the Dow and the S&P are kind of trading hand in hand. The Nasdaq was a big loser, so tech was definitely dropping, probably more so on the Nvidia and Apple news. I'm sure that definitely brought those, to a halt. We were definitely down overall for the week. And where does that really leave us? Where do we really want to be? Do we want to be buying something like a energy play or utility play? Did they already run too much? For one, I don't want to be buying a stock like an SMR that is a modular nuclear play when it just ran 20%. Yes, some of these numbers on the analyst side are going to be old numbers, but what does it really mean? How much faster can SMR new scale power actually scale when it comes to the fact that, yes, we got an announcement that there's an executive order signed. They're going to be doing more testing, Department of Energy. They're going to try to fast track this thing, but then how fast can new scale actually scale alongside of the Department of Energy? And how far out are we before these numbers actually start to hit the bottom line? And I don't think that's going to be 12 months. I think that's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. So I don't want to buy this. I don't want to buy into this run. I don't want to have the FOMO of simply saying, oh, well, it went up 20%, but the Department of Energy is now nuclear. Trump is pushing for nuclear. This might get slowed down along the way. There's probably going to be a lot of red tape. We're probably going to have a new administration before this thing really gets going to where we're actually using nuclear on a huge scale to where it's going to make a big difference. So maybe it's for you. Maybe it's not. Maybe you want to look at something like a Constellation or Dominion or Duke or whatever else and take a look at some of the other utility corps. That is not really my angle. I really do like Apple here. It's not in the 12 stocks that I'm looking at for this year. I don't really want to buy Nvidia pre-earnings, so that one I'm going to have to hold. We're going to have to, kind of put a pin in that one and kind of come back to that. Duke Energy. So I'm just kind of taking a look here. 3.6% dividend yield, fair value on trailing 12 month. I mean, we all need power and we're using more of it. So some of these utility plays are definitely good companies to get into if you want those dividends and more of a, conservative growth type portfolio to where you're not looking to have this stock, 10x, because Duke Energy is not going to be a 10x play. It's not. Maybe if you hold on to it for the next 70 years, maybe it does, but it's not going to be that in the next 10, right? So I can see holding on to some. I don't think that it's going to be that game changer play for us. I'm not even really looking at this one. I was just kind of pulled this one up. Not looking to buy it, I'll say. So between this list, right, we've got Nvidia, Tesla, Meta, Amazon, Eli Lilly, Next Era, NEE, CrowdStrike, which I believe I said was reporting earnings this week. And they are going to be, they are going to be on the 3rd of June. So they're coming up next week. So we'll be looking at that one, maybe more so next week or the following. Bank of America, does it make more sense to get into a lender or a bank as we're seeing some of these rates kind of rise back up? I mean, the PE starts to make sense. The dividend yield is a little light for what a Bank of America is. I think I got in more around of a 3% yield. I don't really know that this is the shiny penny that I have to pick up right now. A 14% upside, I like it, but is it the best thing that we can pick up right now? I still really do like United Health. But I think if the Department of Justice is actually investigating them, we could have a lot more uncertainty, a lot more unknowns out there, right? So I'm cautious. I know I bought some. I bought some on that big dip when that Wall Street Journal article came out. I don't know that this actual investigation has really been announced, right? So I still really like the stock. I will continue to hold the stock. I might buy some more, but I don't know that I want to say on here that this is going to be the Webull stock of the week for our Let It Grow investing challenge. So if I'm looking here, analyst research, what do we got on the numbers that are new? Not the old ones, not the ones that are saying this is a $500 stock. What has been said this week? We got to buy, we got to sell, so we're big divergence here between these two. Buy and price of 405, and this one's a sell. It's going to go to 270. So those are kind of hard numbers to really understand, right? I don't know which one's going to be right. I don't know what the end all be all of this is going to be. The one that I think I need to lean on right now is going to be more Eli Lilly. We're less to do with tariffs. We have limited downside. We have more and more, drugs in the pipeline, and they've got some more blockbusters that are, set to be coming up to market soon. They just got crushed on some different numbers here. And I still really like the fact that they are more valued, more like a biotech or like a growth stock or growth medical, growth healthcare type sector, which is kind of fun a little bit. I'm not saying that I'm buying this for fun, but I like the fact that I can get more of a return compared to something else. I'm more protected from tariffs. I have more of a pipeline. There are a lot of Medicare concerns out there, a lot of insurance concerns out there, but I still believe that Eli Lilly is a solid company that could really be bought here. And I say that I'm still really like Amazon. I really like what Google is saying right now. I still really like Nvidia, right? I still think that Jensen Huang's going to play along with what cards he is dealt. And I think that they're going to continue to fire on all cylinders over there. I don't want to buy this one before the earnings. We have more upside when it comes to Eli Lilly versus Amazon and Nvidia right now. So Amazon's got about 20%. Nvidia is sitting, I think it was around the same, 25. And Eli Lilly, refresh my memory because I just clicked off of it 3 seconds ago and it's gone. It's 38.5%. So I think I got to look there. I think that's where I want to be. And it's kind of like buying, Nvidia in the 80s or AMD in the 80s, and now it's at 110. I think that the window to buy an Eli Lilly down is going to be limited. So I'm thinking buy this one, keep buying this one, and building that position is where I want to be. Little nibbles. That's what we're doing on the investing challenge, where I'm putting $200 each week of my own money into a stock that we discuss on here, right? So if that interests you, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share. I definitely appreciate the help to get the podcast growing. And there's other names that I really do like. I like Meta. I haven't really been like glued to it this week. Only about 11% upside. We were down near 5 something. So we have come back from this April low when we were at 504, and now we're at 627. So we were already up, 20% roughly in a short amount of time. So that one gets a little bit hard to buy. But at the same time, when these are kind of coming back, Eli Lilly's getting crushed. So maybe I want to buy the Eli Lilly and wait for the Googles and the maybe the Amazons to have a bad day, have some tariff talk, have someone saying that they're not going to send us something, and then we can pounce on those and wait for the play to kind of unravel, have everyone come back to the table, meet on some trade agreement and something that makes sense for all parties, and go from there. So right now, man, I've got to look at Eli Lilly. I really do like the fact that Elon's getting back into Tesla, kind of, putting the fact that he's going to be there for at least 5 years as CEO. I like the fact that they're doing FSD. I really like that Apple's getting into healthcare. Again, Nvidia, CrowdStrike, Costco, TJ Maxx, we got to see what those numbers mean. I don't simply just want to buy Costco and then have it drop, 10% and say, oh, we should have held off. We should have been buying this at 920 rather than 1,008. So that's where I'm at with Costco. I still really love the company, but this numbers here and the fact that the stock price tends to trade down after earnings on a Costco. Did I say CrowdStrike? I meant Costco. The fact that Costco tends to trade down after earnings, I don't want to buy it before earnings and then watch it just pummel. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to hold off, and maybe we look to buy some of this next week. Maybe we see what the numbers mean, and hey, are they seeing a slowdown? If they say, hey, we're seeing a slowdown in consumer staples, but our produce and food division is doing great, that's still going to have a pullback effect on Costco as a whole. So I think we can get this at cheaper prices. I really do like the company. I think it's going to survive anything that the economy throws at it. I really do believe that, but it's just not the right time for me. I don't want to buy it before earnings. So Eli Lilly, LLY, is going to be the stock of the week for me here on Let It Grow Investing. If you guys have another stock that you're looking at that makes a lot of sense to you, please share it up. You can do that over at the Facebook group for Let It Grow Investing. Link is in the description or the show notes, whatever you want to call it. And then we also, you can share it on Spotify as well. You can leave a comment like, hey, or on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube, but you guys know that one. So yeah, that's all the time I got. Thank you guys for stopping by. Happy Memorial Day. I will catch you guys in the next one. Take care.